Who is Hope Mmasutdani Rasekele?
Ke Mmasutdani Muvhango. Ke Mmasutdani Muvhango Maake.
Yes.
Ke Mmasutdani Muvhango bakhala. Ke kachibi kamala baretse chepo ko boadra. Ke gele ka ba dromi. Ke muyana na wote wale bakhala. Aruli mada wala. Zaze ne gerengal ni fasige na be gele yale zwa batraka gala bujor gemani. Iludzi gilovi yablo bataba ge male drum tibela yete. Tela ka ngwana ke Mmasutdani. O bijele go la bomme ngwana ke Mmasutdani. So ke nna Mmasutdani ke sutile Modjadji Muvhango.
Why is it so important for you to preserve it?
It's a matter of Balobedu. We have such a rich culture. There is a good thing in documenting, and there also isn't. I don't like us oversharing.
Yeah.
Especially as African people. I call them the masters of the universe because these are people, Ebula Kena over. They have to manage that.
Yeah.
When there's drought, they have to manage that.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, linguistics is very important because then it can help you in understanding the psychology of the people and the relationship people have with nature.
True.
Because I work with nobody.
Yeah.
It's a journey of my own. It's something that I have to experience myself.
If you could say one word to your younger self.
Thank you.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Mindfulness Beyond the Mind podcast. I am your host, Keneilwe Maake. Thank you for consistently meeting with us in this setting. It is always a pleasure to engage with you, to have you here with us and hear your thoughts in the comments section. We truly appreciate you. We are on a road to 600 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we're really excited about that. It's a big accomplishment for us. That means we are halfway to 1,000 subscribers. So for us, it's a great milestone. Thank you to each and every one of you who have subscribed, who keep sharing the content, the notification gang. We really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, it's completely free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All you have to do is to follow these 4 simple steps. First, just click on the subscription button. Turn on your notification bell to know the next time we upload an installment. You like and you share the content with your friends and family. And then next, you engage with us in the comment section. Easy peasy. That's all you have to do to engage with us and to help us grow. So before we waste any time, my guest for today, I'll tell you how I met Hope. I was getting married and I needed a Kilobedu speaking person to be an MC at our wedding. And here I am on YouTube, mindlessly scrolling, and then I come across her page. I'm like, let me hear what's happening here. I go there, she was narrating the story of Queen Modjadji and the Kilobedu language, how people don't know much about it. And I found it so intriguing. I went on Instagram, I searched for this person and I couldn't find her and I was very frustrated. And then eventually I found her on one of the reels, I think. And then I was like, yes, let me message her. I messaged her and I was so obsessed with knowing Kilobedu. And my husband was not really helping me because my tongue is not the right, accent for it. So I struggled. And then when I found you, my goodness, was I not happy? When you responded, my life changed literally. I was like, listen, I've got an MC for my wedding and I'm excited. Thank you for honoring the invite and
Thank
for joining
you
us.
so much. I didn't know the story. Like, it's such a... I didn't know the story.
I was like very
What a
intentional.
journey.
I was intentional that when I get married, when they welcome me and my husband, I need somebody who's going to be an MC in my husband's home language. And in Mabopane, there isn't a lot of people who speak Kilobedu.
Yeah.
I don't even think I've come across anyone except when I met my husband. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go on a hunt and find a
And
Kilobedu.
you did fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that you say that, I feel so bad because I'm like, I've been a terrible teacher. I should have been doing a much better job. So I'm going to fix that. Hopefully after this. And yeah, I'll do better. And thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
I'm honored to have you here today. Even when I messaged you on TikTok,
Yes.
I was like, I hope she still remembers me because I also went quiet after I got married.
No, man. I like life happens, newlyweds.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
But when you did, like, when you like, we spoke, I'm like, hey.
Way.
I cracked my brain until I saw your profile picture. I'm like, this girl.
I know her.
I see her.
Yeah. How have you been?
Man. Since the last time we saw each other, a lot has happened.
True. You've graced us on TV screens. We've loved to be there. You know, every Sunday we're fighting over the remote. We have to watch.
Thank you. For me, those Sundays meant a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing today? But yeah, it's been a lot. I was on Queen Modjadji with on Zanzi Magic, and I went on to do other things. Now I'm on Muvhango. I'm doing other things as well that are coming. I can't,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey. God has been good. God has been great. Yeah, man.
Yeah. We're looking forward to whatever's unfolding. We know it's going to be great. You don't give us anything half cooked. Whatever you do, it's like you slow cooked it. It just falls off the bone. So we really love the kind of work that you produce. We're excited to see it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Before we get into the conversation, maybe other people don't know you.
Yes.
And I think it is worth a while that you tell us. There's a lot on your profile. When I looked at it, I'm like, what do I take out and what do I not? Because I wanted to keep everything there.
It's a lot.
I'm going to give you the privilege to tell us and the viewers at home who is Hope Mmasutdani Rasekele.
Yeah. Mmasutdani Hope Rasekele. Mmasutdani 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 Maake.
Yes.
Mmasutdani Mmasutdani Rasekele. Kachibi kamala baretse chepo kuboadra. Gele kama dromi. Gumyana na wote wale wakala. Aruli mada wala. Zaze ngirenga lini fasiga nabe gele yalelezwa batraka gele bujorge mani. Giluzi giluvi yablo bataba ge male dromi tibela yete.
Goosebumps.
And just to, basically what I'm saying, it's who I am, who I was, and who I aspire to be. So I think I've worked very hard to try to get that little intro. And I was very intentional in how I introduced myself because I felt like my existence is just far beyond my name and what I look like. I have to tell people who I am, where I come from. And mainly because there aren't a lot of people, or at the time there weren't a lot of people who were doing what I was doing. So for me, it was very, very important. And I was just tired of people asking me, what is that?
Yeah. What are you speaking?
What is speaking?
Yeah.
So I had to make a statement. And I feel like gradually I've been making those statements.
True.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. I want my kids to know their mother tongue. Because I don't want language to perish. I don't want them to think that they only good enough when they speak English. I want them to know that before English, there was a language that our parents, grandparents, and our ancestors have spoken.
Yeah.
And I'm very intentional. My husband knows, I say this all the time, that if we fail in teaching our kids the home language, it will be on us.
Yeah.
So, and it is also on us to teach them. So what was growing up like? You just mentioned now as we were catching up that you grew up in Joburg, and we were like, no ways, you didn't. So how was life growing up and the role that everyone played in making sure that you don't lose it? You don't lose the roots.
Yeah, so my mom was a typical African mom, she never got any education. So when she had us, and especially because she worked as a domestic worker, so she worked for white people specifically, she wanted us to know English.
Yeah.
She wanted us to go to English schools, make sure we get the best education, and we renchake kwagare ngo, So that was my mom. But then, because herself, she was not an English speaker, she had no choice but to use Balobedu when speaking with us. So she was working against their own mission.
Yeah.
And I also had my grandmother. Obviously, she doesn't know how to speak English. She speaks Balobedu. So they were not necessarily, you have to know Balobedu. They were not those people.
Yeah.
They were...
pretty chill.
Yeah, pretty chill people That is the language they have access to. Now, because I speak this language, I get into a dilemma where people keep asking me, what do you speak?
Yeah.
At home, I remember, and then people tell me, oh, I'm like, Sepedi? I don't even know what Sepedi is at this point of my life. I don't know what Sepedi is. So now imagine like a 4-year-old, you're being told, I'm like, what do you mean? I remember there was a teacher at Krish. She was like, she used to say, yo, lel pedi lela, because I was a problematic child. She's like, yo, lel pedi lela. I'm like, lel pedi? Haibo.
What is that?
What is that? And then I'd go home, they'll be like, no, I'm Balobedu. So at home, they were not necessarily intentional about what language. They were intentional that they want us to be very educated. And School was being part of the education. But in terms of like culture, Balobedu, the traditions, the practices, because my grandmother had like, she asked permission from my great grandfather, a long time ago. She had severed all the cultural practices. She told him, can I please go to church? They were like, yeah, yagregeni. And if you're yagregeni, stick to it and stay committed to it. This thing where you're going to do hamba wuya, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
So when she severed that relationship with cultural practices and became a Christian, it was done. We grew up Christian. So, but for me, there was I just felt, I don't know, I've always felt incomplete. It's like there was something. I hated getting into a space and people are like, oh yeah, tell us about your people. And I'm like, I hated being ignorant. The person, the educator in me hated being being complacent and not knowing about my people. So I guess that is what just riled me up.
And do you say you are a cultural advocate?
Not an advocate anymore. I advocate for no one. I don't have the apparatus. I'm more of a teacher than allowed. I'm more of a teacher when I'm allowed. I do share the little that I know. I ask questions because I'm also a student as well. So, and not just for Balobedu, just for African people altogether at this point. So it's not just for Balobedu. At the time, I was intentional because, again, I was starting and it was Balobedu. But now it's outside. I'm far beyond that. I advocate for, not advocate, guys. I speak up for all African people. Okay.
Not just Balobedu.
Not just Balobedu.
It's beautiful though. I believe that you have done great work in teaching, and also in preserving the language, Balobedu. What are you trying to preserve there, like in terms of the cultural norms and the culture, Balobedu? Why is it so important for you to preserve it and to teach it and to take it a step forward?
For me, it's a matter of integrity, It's a matter of Balobedu. We have such a rich, unique culture, culture. And I think it would be a shame if 20 years from now, 50 years from now, and we just become a memory. It would be very sad to me. So I think that for me, it was very important for people to know they have a monarch, the only queenship in South Africa, led by females that are also Zinesabula. It has a language. They have where they come from. They have their own practices. And also because when you look at it on a political level of how we were segregated against because of our practices, but also because we're led by women. So the exclusion for me is a burning sensation. You can't forget us. We are not a memory. We are existing. Right now, Rakaba, we have a population of over 2 million. We are a people. So you can't silence us and disappear. Our practices disappear. It would be a shame. At least let's find a way to archive it. And if my existence, the way I speak, the way I do my art, my crafts, my writing, is how I can archive that, then I'm willing to do it.
That is so beautiful. And that is, you see, that's why I wanted you here, because you just gave us like a deep history in terms of Balobedu. I didn't know that the population is that big Yeah.
Not that. We are everywhere. We are very intrusive. Yeah. We're like we are like an intrusive thought.
Yeah.
Thought. We are here. Like I bump into Lobedi people. Like I'll go to the most random places.
And then you'll find them.
And then you'll find a Lobedi person and they'll be trying to mask it. Yeah, I can relate. You're like, when? And then I'll ask, I'm like, where you from? They'll be like, Kikwa Limpopo. Okay, Limpopo, where in Limpopo? Hey, Kikwa Limpopo, Kikwa Amugwasil. I'm like, Legwa Amugwasil later. And then like, I'm like, I'm that person.
Yeah.
So we are everywhere. If you go to Tembisa,
you'll find them.
Listen, we have a whole place called Balobedu. That is how much we are there.
Wow.
If you go to Alex,
they're there.
If you townships in South Africa. I remember in Vosloorus, where I grew up briefly, on the same street, there was a lady Wamlobedu. And we never knew that until I don't remember what was happening. My mom and I think we were from Spa or something. And then she heard us speak.
Yeah.
And then that lady has always spoken Sesotho.
Wow.
Always. She had us speak Kilobedu, and then she's like, hey, what language are you guys speaking? Kilobedu. And we were like, yeah. My mom was like, yeah. And then she's like, yo, lena ke Molobedu. This person has spoken Sesotho like Ike Mosotho.
Yeah.
She has never spoken anything else.
Wow.
So it is, for me, is those kind of things. We are everywhere. They're like, they're like, yeah, no, we are everywhere. And even when you try to hide us, you just find us lurking somewhere.
Listening to you speaking, I'm just mesmerized when you speak Kilobedu. I'm like, it's so sexy. Can I just have it in me to speak this language?
I'm sending it to you.
Send it my way. And your name, I don't want to butcher it. I know you told me how to say it. Mmasutdani.
Mmasutdani. So don't be too hard on it.
Yeah. You see, I just said to you, you're making it so easy.
So easy.
Like,
yeah. Mmasutdani.
Tell me about the naming.
I'm very intentional about how people say my name.
Yeah.
I want them to say it nice. If you can call croissants, bobotki, and all those other things, you can then say Mmasutdani. So Mmasutdani, I'm born on the same day my great grandmother passed. This is my maternal grandmother's mother. She passes away Mudajoba Maigo. And then I think Gauchoa, she gives birth to me.
To you.
And then they don't stress. So now she has to go to Limpopo and they're prepping for the funeral.
Yeah.
And all these, I think my dad had a name for me, Shampoo him. He had a name for me. And then because of all the old grandmothers, because there was a gathering, there was a funeral, everyone was there. They're like, ngwana ke Mmasutdani. So So for someone on a different lens could say, oh my gosh, so does that mean that you are a replacement? I'm like, listen, if you knew this old woman, you wouldn't think I'm a replacement. We are complete opposite. She was very strict. Well, we're both strict. She was a hard worker, and I'm just like, oh no, honey. No, so that's how I got the name ultimately. And I carry it very, like people for the most part of my life knew me as Hope.
Yeah.
Hi, Hope. But there are people who call me Hope, and you'll be very shocked. People know me. A lot of people know me as Hope. But I started becoming very intentional. I have a name. Give Mmasutdani. Mmasutdani. And it's not Mmasutdani, it's not Masi, it's not Mmasutdani. Sudani, Sudeleleng, because people didn't shoot Teleleng. That's Venda and Sundani. So it's very, very clear.
Yeah. As I was preparing for this, I went and I checked, what does the name mean? And it said make way. Yeah. And then it started to make sense, Mmasutdani.
Yes,
so
Sudeleleng.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful name. And I love how you carrying it with so much grace, because you are making way.
Yes.
Essentially, for many people, for yourself, in every space that you go into, you command. Does it really connect to possibly because you were raised by a female-dominated household?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you can't hide my mom, my grandmother, my aunt. You can't hide them.
Yeah.
Listen, we could be in a room of 100 and thousands of people. They will stand out one way or the other.
Yeah.
They will stand out. it's not even because of the way they dress. Sometimes it's their voice.
Yeah.
You know, they're very there. But I grew up in a very female-dominated household. My father was not a part of my life. They divorced immediately after my birth.
Yeah.
So I grew up with my mom, between my mom, my aunt, and my mother and my grandmother.
Yeah.
And they are very good. They are. They. But when you're talking about Highland, we're talking about those people where they'll be telling you, was that a little CJ? Not a canal melagar, sweet taste. You're like, yo, okay, struggle. So they're there, and they have character. They're women of character. They're women of substance.
Yeah.
They're very present. They're very generous. They're very kind. They're full of life.
Yeah.
Though I think I get a lot of that character and zeal from my mom and my grandmother, because they have so much character.
Yeah.
So I definitely get it from them. And that's why even when I walk into a room, I don't think I walk alone. It would be a shame for me to walk in a room by my side, by myself. I think I walk with a lot of
entourage.
Entourage, those who are in the spirit and those who are in the physical,
True.
And I appreciate that I don't have to do life by myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to do life by myself. I never have to depend just on myself. So I never feel lonely and alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Listen, the foundation that our family set for us, it's not by mistake. There's always a bigger purpose. We don't see it at the time, but it is never by mistake. The way that they raised you, there was a bigger purpose that God has placed in them so that they can plant a seed in you. And we're really grateful and appreciate how they raised you, because today we look at you and we aspire. We look at you and like, there's so much grace in this woman. And tell me about growing up between Joburg, Bolaseni, and then life as you grew, and then studies as well.
Even that, now looking in retrospect, I'm thinking, our lives are so intentional.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person, you can literally throw me in the Sahara Desert and I'll survive.
You survive.
And that is because I've grown up in different places in a short space. It's so, the next thing I'm here, the next thing I'm there, the next thing I'm there.
Yeah.
And it has built my character. So obviously, Mama Queen, it was because my mom was Makui, Baba my Queen, and my aunt. And they were physically able to care for me until it was not.
Yeah.
But also my grandmother at some point, especially when we were in Foslo and I was studying school there, my grandmother was like, and because she used to come to Joburg a lot. So now the trips were becoming exhausting. And also by the time my baby sister was born, so my grandmother was like, it's not doable, it's not safe.
Just 2 kids.
Got Thomas Ramaroga, Biabe, primary school. And I think I've always had a good flow between Joburg and High. Like I come here, I look like a Joburger, I'm at home, I'm like a village girl.
Yeah.
And I never feel out of place.
Yeah.
Even when I went to boarding school, I never felt out of place. Even when I've always, and also that built to my independence. I'm a very independent person. I'm very self-reliant, self-sufficient. So I'm just that kind of a person. So the moving around in different spaces, whatever, it built to my adaptability. So you'll never find me, if I had to travel for years, I'll never be at a place and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so homesick. I mean, like even at home they have to miss me and call me and cry. My grandmother, plus she's a crier these days because she's old. She'll be like, yo, well, I don't choose. I'm like, oh, I'm like, yo. So, but otherwise, that I think it's part of character development, and that has, at the time, it wasn't a good thing, but now now I appreciate it.
And then you went to UP. What did you study there?
So I went to MGI at first. At MGI, it was MGI now, and then it was called Pearson, and then it was called something else. Now it's called Eduforce. So at the time I started doing biomedicine, and then obviously, unfortunately, I couldn't continue because it was a private institution. It was very expensive.
Yeah.
And then I went to UP to study BA law.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go straight into LLB because I was like, yeah, justice for the people. My sense of
advocating.
my sense of justice was over the roof.
Yeah.
But then I was like, gosh, but you know what? I don't want to commit like that. So I took BA law.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great, and I majored in historical studies.
Obviously.
That for me, and it was not my plan. It was nothing out. You're going through your prerequisites. Like, okay.
Let me choose this.
Okay, history maybe makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Let me, not criminology. I mean, I'm already gonna do criminology. Let me catch history.
Yeah.
So history was just that module that I got, but then I fell in love with it so much. So I think for me it was the process of discovering.
Yeah.
The art of discovering, the art of interpretation, the art of using history to now, not to, you know, but to kind of like understand our setting in our. So for me, I found that very interesting, because now when you read about things, you're like, it kind of makes sense why that place is.
Yeah.
You're looking about the Roman Empire and how they went on to, like, you know, colonize everyone essentially, and you're like, okay, now I understand the structure of Egypt. And then when you look at the migration of East Africa, and you're like, okay, can I understand why we have that? You know, even on a religious whatever. So for me it was just like, it became like a drug. I wanted more of it. So I think that's also for me, that's when I remember when I was doing my final year in historical studies, I did how to study history.
Okay.
And we had to do gender studies. So you had an option to use gender studies. You can choose whatever topic and then put it as part of gender studies and how it affected history today. And for me it was like, I want something unique.
Yeah.
I want something different. And I remember when I was thinking about the topic, and I was like, Queen Modjadji.
Yes.
I was like, Queen Modjadji. And for me, I was like, okay, how do I use? I'm like, yeah, actually in Africa we've had female-led, you know, monarchs. They're very successful. The fact that they are already people who have multiplied and they speak the language, that means it was successful in existence.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use that, and how often in history women like that are excluded.
True.
You see a lot of a lot of men are mentioned in history.
Yeah, they are.
A lot of men, and in deep, like extensively. But when you look at a lot of women, it's just
you know, it's like one page.
It's like when you look at World War, they're like, women used to send letters, you know, women used to. But then you're like, no, when the women were heavily wounded, there are women who had to physically
heal them,
be there, and even on the field they had to carry weapons. So for me, that's when I was like, okay, Queen Modjadji. But I was like, I know this is not, even when you're going. And also my biggest issue was that when I was doing that research, I was not finding a lot. For me that was very problematic.
There's not much.
There's no much research. So who am I gonna reference? You know what I'm saying? I was finding that a problem for me, because I wasn't finding a lot of material on it. And I could find like material written by Mathole Motshekga, and then you find like a measly paper there stuck in the corner by a student who was curious like me probably,
but didn't have much.
And you know, and then for me that was problematic, and I made it a mission. I'm like, nah, it's not enough. It's not enough. Let's do better.
And I think that's one thing that worries me about our history, is that it is perishing because we don't document as African people. We see how English people have documented how they got into Cape Town and how they started populating or increasing their population here. But with us, it's like our population, our history is not really documented that well, that even after us, somebody else can know what happened. And it worries me, because I think people need to know about us. Otherwise, we're going to disappear. Like you said, like we will be a memory.
We will be a memory.
Yeah.
I think there is a good thing in documenting, and there also isn't. I don't like us oversharing,
Yeah.
especially as African people. I don't like us oversharing.
Okay,
I will
unpack
like.
that.
I appreciate us sharing.
Yeah.
I don't want us to overshare.
Yeah.
You know, because there's been in the past where we have overshared. The reason why the other race knows so much about us is because we overshared.
Yeah, true.
And they villainized us for that. You know, so I'm a fan of us documenting for our own sake, but not oversharing for other people's benefit.
Yeah, that makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. And we don't know really much about the other race, like you said.
Yeah, we know about the
what they
glorious
want us-
things.
yeah,
and
we
the
know what
things
they
that
want us
they
to
did
know.
well, they discovered, and
Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. My next question then is on how you then started narrating about Queen Modjadji on YouTube. There was a beautiful video that you did there that I myself got interested on it. And I started asking my husband, like, what do you know about your history? What do you know about where you guys come from and what your family has told you? Do you want to maybe unpack that for us before you even started being on Queen Modjadji on TV? But you already were starting to educate us about that.
So for me, again, when I couldn't find much about our people, and one of the biggest documents to exist that documents briefly what the Balobedu people could essentially be as a white man.
Yeah. That was
followed by a black man. For me, that was unsatisfactory. I was like, this is so I wanted to do something. Obviously, I knew I didn't want to, I couldn't publish or write at the time ever. I was a struggling student. So I'm like, okay, we are digitalizing everything. Maybe I could make vlogs, maybe do videos on YouTube, what I learned and share with other people. But for me, it was not just re-narrating what people have written, but for me it was also connecting into what we are living, what I'm observing, because I'm a very much an observer. So I wanted to share what I was seeing as well. So yeah, that's when the YouTube started and the videos started. Also I was talking to other people, and you realize, I remember when I was making those videos, there was a lady that I was in contact with that I met through social media, and she was advocating for Amampondo and Namapata. And I was like, gosh, it's not just us who are the forgotten children. It's not just us, there's also other people. So we need to do better.
True.
In acknowledging all of our histories, all of our journeys as African people. We need to acknowledge us first. I still find it very disappointing. Outside of Balobedu, I still find it very disappointing that we have not done a good job of documenting the history of Atogwa. I find it, they have such a rich history.
And it's not documented.
And it's not well documented. And people don't know, not even document, like the people, a lot of people don't know about it, and we treat them like outcasts, like a side piece, and it's very disappointing. Forget us, Balobedu, because us, the one thing about us, we are intrusive, like I told you, we are everywhere. So at least we have some, and also now because also our monarch has been recognized. People know Queen Modjadji Muvhango now, people know about the lineage, and with the series now, people kind of like understand what happened. It's not necessarily a beautiful history, but it is a history.
24 years.
History doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to suit your feelings or anyone's feelings. It's there. You can go back to the past and ask the people, why did you guys do this? Well, unfortunately for you and I, we will sit there with our own thoughts. So there is history. And again, what you'll find in what you see, even with regards to the series, it's barely scratching the surface.
True.
I mean, the fact that I get, it's a personal opinion of mine that I hold, that it's very, we are boxing the American Babijore, they are rainmakers. Rainmaking, you are boxing it. Like, it's far beyond that. I call them the masters of the universe, because these are people, Ebola kena over. They have to manage that. When there's drought, they have to manage that. When there's winds, these are airbenders. And these are avatars. If you know what I'm saying.
Superheroes.
These are people who are doing what avatars are supposed to be doing. They're not just Zenesabula every time. It's such a no. It's when you look at the people of Karanga and their practices, they were avatars. The way they built their houses, they were trying to mimic the art of the universe. They were trying to mimic the structure of the universe. The way their structures, the way they face. When you build a house, the people of the north, when they build a house, they don't just build a house.
It has to face
especially in the it has to face a certain way. That's why we were mimicking the universe. We're trying to understand the universe. So for you to just call a group of people, it's a boxer, because for me, I'm like, nah, it's far beyond that. It's we can go on and on. It's far beyond that. It's far beyond that.
I think I don't know much about history now that you have said the houses have to face a certain way. Guys, I didn't know any of
I don't know why. They'll tell you, I don't know why. If you're building, like, maybe I remember back in the day, maybe they find you building ketaga. What is a ketaga? A kitchen, whatever, the roundable one.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be like, hey, come on, ulibelagay. Like, you know. So like, but it's those things for a lay person. You're just like,
it's a house. Yeah,
you know. But there are people who have this knowledge. There are people who have this knowledge. They'll tell you, even like in terms of the way we farm. We don't just farm. You know, they'll tell you, no, you can't farm this here. You farm, I think now that has been adopted into now commercial farming. That's why there's a lot of us who work there, because we know what we're doing. You know, so we don't just do things. Even ukwasa de koni, like, oh gosh, ukwasa de koni again. Fetching firewood, firewood, fetching firewood. You don't just do. There's a certain period. You must allow nature to rejuvenate. You must allow nature to come back to itself. Then you do it, and when you do it, we do it in such a way that it's holistic. We don't just do things. We are one with nature. We appreciate nature. We respect nature. There's a certain
way.
There are people who right now who get there. You know what I'm saying? There are people in the when you go to the spiritual practices, African practices, when you get there, they'll tell you, you don't just get to the water. You must ask. You know, you don't just do things. You know, when you're doing this, you don't just so there's a lot of practices that we with this respect. So, and that also informs the way we speak. The now linguistics. The reason why we speak is informed by our observations, our practices. So that's why for me, linguistics is very important, because then it can help you in understanding the psychology of the people and the relationship people have with nature.
True.
We don't just speak, it's a lot of
informed by a lot of
it's informed by a lot of other things.
Beautiful. Please think about writing that book. If you write it in English or whatever language.
I'm sure the people that are gonna watch this, especially the ones that know me, they're gonna be like, we told that we told it 1,000 times. I'm guilty. Listen, I'm working on it.
Please, whoever is listening, a publisher or whoever, this week, please reach out and let's document this history. We're not going to overshare, as you said, but we're going to document the important things that we need to know as African people. And that brings me to my next questions, which is how you then got into Queen Modjadji, casting for it, and being a pivotal, or I think you played a very important role in making sure they don't deviate from the culture, the language, and everything. Unpack that for us.
Again, our journeys are set by people. You know, they pick it up and they do a good job. And we should try not to intervene with a good job that they're doing, the people who set up things for us. So, I just after my third year, I think I'm left with like one module there by UP. I'm like,
I'm done.
I'm not saying I'm done. I'm like, plus I know beginning of the year I owe UP. They're gonna be asking me for me to pay that 50%. I'm like, okay, let me take a break. I'll see them. Like, okay, I've been doing content creation at this point. So I want to get into acting. I know I want to go into acting. I know this is what I should be doing. My mom told me, when I was young, or listen, you are going to drama school. I'm going to save up money. You're going to drama school. They recognized it a long time ago. But me being me, because you look at your household, just like, guys, I don't want to be an embarrassment, whatever. But anyway, but what your calling will always call you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter or guy. You'll never run away from it. So anyway, I look for an agent. I tried looking for an agent. We get whatever. I end up getting an agent. Fast forward. I'm still trying. I'm at home. January. I was home. January. I'm now the only one who's left in Joburg.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? People start sending me this advert here. There are people who are advertising. It's a program.
Yeah.
They're gonna train you to act and all of those things. It's called Kibebe Center for the Arts. Kibebe Art Project at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, I have to go to Joburg. People are sending me. They're like, no, it's Skimsam Kinyagabatro, because they were working with some Skimsam actors who were helping them promote the project. There's Skimsam Kinyagabat. I'm like, no, it's not Skimsam looking for people. If it was Skimsam, I probably would have known about it.
Yeah.
But when you think you know the industry, like, I would have probably known about it.
Yeah.
But people keep sending it to me. So many people send it to me. Like, people take me on social media. They're like, yeah, we know you can act. We know. Oh, you have to go. You'll be on Skimsam. I'm like, oh gosh, it's not Skimsam. But I ended up going, and my bags were packed on this day.
Yeah.
I leave my bags unpacked. I take out clothes. I go. I'm like, I'm going to go audition and see what they're about. And then once I see, I'm going to come back, pack my bags,
and then leave.
Go to Joburg. I go there, Kabani Youth Center. I get there, and I go in, and it's my time to audition. You have to audition. I have to act and then do something. Also, when I get there, it's Moses Rasekele. We have the same surname.
Yeah.
People ask me, are you guys related? I have no idea. We have the same surname. And then there's Net Ramabuda, and I audition, I go home. I think it was on a Saturday. They don't call me that Saturday. I'm like, okay, let me wait Sunday. On Sunday, the whole day, they don't call me. I'm like, Monday,
I didn't make it.
On Sunday evening, they call me. Ned calls me. He's like, hey, so listen, we want to take you, but we don't think this project is going to offer you. I mean, like, you are studied, you have an agent, you know the industry, you've done some stuff. We don't think we can offer you anything. This is training for people who don't have. I'm like, listen, I don't like people
assuming,
thinking highly of me. I don't like you are making that in my head. I'm like, I don't like the way you are thinking for me. So what if I decided to want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
So anyway, I told her, I'm like, no, I don't have a problem with that. I'm open to learning. In my head, I'm like, I don't have anything going on. So what do you mean by that? So anyway, I end up going there, doing the training. And because of that, then obviously I work with Moses and Nat. So Moses then, after the project, this is like months later, he tells me, he's like, listen, I've been talking to some people. They're wanting to work on a project and I have a meeting with them. This is in passing. He says it in passing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All the best. I pioneer for you. Yes. Anyway, he goes to the meeting. He's like, oh, okay, they're working on a project. That's the kind of project that they're working with. Now they're looking for people. And the people that they're looking for, the people who are going to help, they want people, speakers of the language and people who are well versed in the history of the people. Because they are starting from scratch. Like there's
nothing.
No thread, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So they're building some sort of like a team. I gave them your contacts. I don't know if they will contact you. You've not done anything necessarily in the industry, but yeah. I'm like, don't worry.
I'm there.
I get an email. She's like, the lady is who would then be my head writer, Carol Shaw. And she's like, please send me your CV and your everything. I'm like, my creative CV is bare. My creative CV at the time was bare.
There wasn't much.
So I send it. She's like, and she responds exactly as expected. She's like, yeah, your CV is kind of like empty. I thought you would have some experience, but it's okay. It's okay. You can still come in. It was on a Monday. To come on a Monday. On the Monday, for we'll like to hear you speak the language.
Yeah.
So now I'm going there as a person who's going to speak the language, and they hear like, okay, this language exists. Okay, I go into the room. I remember Moses lecturing me on the way. He's like, please, I know you talk too much, don't over talk.
Just say a
Don't
snippet.
talk too much. He's like, please relax. Listen more than you talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yo, this is a hard thing because I'm a talker. I go there. Remember, we go to Rosebank. We get into the room. I sit next to Moses because I'm like, if I'm going to behave, I have to sit next to him. I sit next to him. I listen. I remember we had there was listening to everyone talk. We had like some sort of a tea break. After tea break, I'm like, get out of here. I'm not listening to you. I left him. I packed my things, went to sit on the other side of the corner of the table. I remember I raised my hand. I don't even remember what I said, but I was talking so much. The next thing I knew, I was in front of everyone. I was giving some sort of a presentation.
Wow.
The next thing I know, and I think it went on, people were asking me questions, and the little that I know, and because I remember, I've been like, this has been my lifetime project. I've been prepping towards all the histories, the videos on YouTube I've been doing, the videos on TikTok I've been doing, the history that I've studied, the history at varsity. So this has prepped me for this. I gave a whole presentation, and by the time I left there, I was an assistant researcher.
What?
And then the head writer was like, listen, I might want you in the writing room as well. And so I left there with almost like, you can call it some sort of like 2 positions.
Yeah.
Went home, celebrated, and that's how I got my first job in the creative industry. I was assistant writer and researcher. And then obviously that goes into language advisor and cultural advisor.
Yeah.
And then we went on, and now we have to talk about the language and the structure and everything. Obviously, we don't have any orthography and what. It was a very hard job. I've never had to work so hard in my life. I've never had to work so hard in my life. So we wanted to, because now this is back in the 1800s, we had to find something that truly captures the sound and the language. You know, mudumo wa Kilobedi kina le mudumo. You know, we didn't want to use the now version, which is heavily influenced by Sepedi. You know,
diluted to some extent.
We don't want to say diluted because they don't like that. But you have the one. So that one, so we had to, it was a lot of work. We had to consult a lot. We had to travel a lot. It was a lot of sleepless nights. It was a lot of meetings. It was a lot of work. And I learned so much through this journey, to be quite honest with you. And that's how I got there. The acting, again, is a whole other dramatic story of how I got into acting. Because I was just so excited to be working behind the scenes. I was like, yes, listen, you could tell me nothing. I was so happy with my job. I was so happy to be doing my job. They're shooting a pilot. A pilot is something like sort of like for a presentation to show broadcast that. So they're looking for a Kilobedi actor. Moses, again, is like,
there's the person.
Well, she acts. By the way, she acts. And then they're like, no, Moses. Every day when we're saying something, you must suggest this girl.
Shout out to Moses.
You know, Moses. So, you know, I call him my living ancestor.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they're like, okay, because we want to shoot this, let's whatever. They had other actors as well. So we shot it. And then I forgot about it. And then they had auditions come in. When they started auditions, so I had to go in from a language department. I had to go in as a reader. So people, when they're auditioning with me because they are Balobedu. Yeah. And then it went on. I think on the final day, this was the closing of the auditions. We are finishing. We are submitting everything, the recordings, because they were recording. Yeah. They're like, Mmasutdani, you know you shot the pilot with us. Don't you want to audition? Why don't you audition when?
Wow.
It was like a joke. I was sitting there having my tea, you know, there by the corner. Yeah. They're like, why don't you audition, Vele? I'm like, oh, okay. And then I went in and I auditioned. I thought it was a joke because now I thought it was a joke. Yeah. I was not taking it seriously. I auditioned. And I think weeks later, somewhere in December, we are having a meeting. They're having a presentation. They're like, okay, our executive producer is having presenting all the main cast that they've selected. I'm there for work, right? Yeah. So obviously, we are happy. We're clapping for the people that we are seeing that they've selected. Oh, yes. And then like, yeah. So for our character, Zugudeni, this is who we have selected. And then there's my face. I'm like, huh?
Wow.
I'm like, huh?
No one said this to you before.
I almost dropped my laptop. My barely functioning laptop, I almost dropped it. And yeah, that's how I got there. And yeah, that's how I got my character as Zugudini. And funny enough, with this character as Zugudini, when I was studying, I was unimpressed with how undocumented she is. She was almost distinct.
Non-existent.
Not a lot of people mention Zugudini in history. And this was the woman who ran away from Mutapa.
Yeah.
Right? And then would essentially run away little Chukula Jaune Sabula. So people don't talk about her. So, and also the name Zugudin, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Whatever, so I made a video. I'm like, it was a poet and a tribute to her. And I said that could only imagine what it feels like to be Zugudini. And I got a character that made me understand what it felt like to be a Zugudini.
Oh, the emotions in that character, unbelievable.
So she was a character I manifested and a gift from my ancestors to also just to affirm me that I'm not lost. I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And the things that I do ask, I will get, provided I treasure them with my heart and I offer the respect that it deserves.
And you did an impeccable job to the character.
So
watching it from start, and when you're watching a series that you don't know how it's going to unfold, you automatically make assumptions in your head.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be the rainmaker.
Yeah.
Here I'm like, oh, she's strong. She's the one. She's the chosen one by the ancestors. And even when the dad in the story said, I want to what was it? Was it an ancestral instruction?
Yeah.
That she must sleep with one of the babies.
Yeah.
With one of the child. And it was Zugudin. And I was like, yes,
she's
the rainmaker.
Sometimes, when things look like they are about to happen this way, but if it's not yours, it's not yours. No matter how hard you fight for it. You see how I went to MGI, spent thousands of rands, I went to UP, thousands of rands, I still owe them. And then you're doing, but what's yours will never miss you.
100%.
So that is Zugudini. She did all of these things going up and down. Only for her to end up not a rainmaker.
Yeah, it was a sad story, but a beautifully narrated one because it gave us insight into how everything unfolded.
Yeah.
And well done to you for how you portrayed the character.
Thank you.
And shout out to Moses for plugging you because he realized something in you that perhaps you were side playing or just pushing it to the side.
Yeah.
But he knew you had it in you. And
absolutely. He trusted me and I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Then that brings me to how you use poetry to tell stories and how you use music. I've seen you dance. And
yes,
it's like you're telling a story in your dance moves.
Yeah.
You're telling something deeper than we can utter in words. Tell us about that.
So, because, people talk too much, but also, when I'm doing poetry, again, I think one of my calling is educating and enlightening.
Yeah.
I think for me, poetry is how I do that as well. So because it's not necessarily just a thing I can do, it's a gift of mine, it's a calling of mine. So when I do it, it's from a deeper place.
Yeah.
It's from a very deep place, from the sounds, the way I sound and whatnot. So it's that. It's from a deeper place.
Yeah. So you embody a different character when you're in your space.
So it's not just something that I'm just like, let me do it. It's cool vibes.
Yeah.
And that is why I won't just wake up and be like, I'm going to do a poem day, whatever. For me, it's not that because the words are heavy. Some of the things I say are heavy. Some of the things are lived experiences of certain people. So it's like that. And I even the intro that I did, I took it. It's not a a family totem or a family. No. I dreamt it. I had it in my head. I woke up. I thought of it. I got a friend downstairs at my res room.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to help me record a video. I think we've shot over 200 videos. And it was because I kept creating it, recreating it as over and over. New words, new things were coming as I was doing it. He's like, I could never do this. He ended up giving up and leaving until I wrote it. And 7 years, 8 years later, I'm here, I've perfected it. That's why I'm because I work with nobody. It's a journey of my own. It's something that I have to experience myself. Because what? Balobedu, we don't want to be hidden. We want to be known. So there's no purpose of you trying to suppress us.
Yeah, because you are intrusive. You will.
Those are existing people. You know, so it's the things that are happening that I know. So it's not just things that I do. A lot of my poems, I dream them. A lot of my poems, I'll be sitting in my very quiet space, and then it comes and I'm like, yeah. So that I don't start by writing. I start by speaking. And then when it's perfect, then I'm like, oh, can I have that? And then I go and write it.
So that says to me that it's spiritually led. It's not something that you just see on TV, on magazine, or you have an aha moment.
I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I don't go wake up and be like, oh, that is so cool. I have to do it. No.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah, but that's beautiful. May you continue to enlighten us with your beautiful poems, and may they continue to pour into you so that you can pour into the world.
Thank you.
With regards to you're now on Muvhango.
Yes.
With regards to that, the two roles that you're playing is very strong women in both the series. How do you I don't want to use the word psych, but how do you bring yourself mentally, spiritually into the characters? Is there certain practices that you do to mindfully bring yourself into the characters and embody the characters? Like, how do you prepare for the roles?
Yeah, I don't want to lie. It's a lot of work, okay? I work very hard for me to actually get to those characters. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love, but I don't have a specific ritual other than preparation.
Yeah.
My ritual is preparation. The first thing I do is like, okay, what is the bio? What is the character bio?
Yeah.
And then I look at it. This is a woman, this age, kids. I'm like, yo, I'm not a mother. So that doesn't come naturally to me. I'm like, okay, I'm not a mother now. I have to find the maternal instincts in me. You know, it's always hard work. Even with Zugudini, it's not something that comes naturally to you.
It's not.
You know, even with this new character that I'm doing, Arwini Rubombo on Muvhango, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it doesn't come naturally to me. It's a lot of hard work, reading. But luckily for me, also, I have access to people. You know, the writers who are amazing. You can ask questions.
Yeah.
You have the writing department. You ask them questions. What were you thinking when you were writing? Because there are people who create this thing.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about this? What was your state? What is your, you know, and then you try to do that, and then you try to interpret it the best way you can. Yeah, it doesn't come easy, man. It's those things. You can't have a ritual for it. And you're like, this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Every day is a new day. You read a line, you're like, she can't say it like this. You read it, you're like, okay, I thought I was going to do it. You get to say, you're like, I thought I was going to do it like this. But the character's like, yeah, she could possibly do that to her, but she's also speaking to a daughter, a girl child, not a boy child. What is the relationship with the other characters?
Yeah.
You know? So it's a lot of work. You can never prepare enough, even though you prepare.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from a wellness perspective, if I can put it that way, are there any tips or traits that you have embodied that helps you to remain centered when you are in the entertainment industry? It's fast-paced. Today there's this shooting that's happening. Tomorrow there's this. You need to be at this place. You must be early. You must be here at this specific time. How do you, from a wellness point of view, how do you prepare?
There's too much noise in this industry. There's so much noise, you know. That's why I never compromise on radical self-awareness. But it's something that I've always had.
Yeah.
I'm very, very strict about being self-aware and taking care of myself. And how do I do that? By taking care of myself. I detach. There are times where I detach, I let go of the world, and I must sit in my quiet cocoon.
Yeah.
quiet, no music, no phone, no nothing. I must sit in silence because there's too much noise.
True.
And it exhausts you and it takes away from you and then it distracts you from what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm very radically self-aware.
Yeah.
I don't compromise. I don't like people taking away from my me time. I don't like people taking away from my
Yeah.
like leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like it's okay not
My
to
own
see
space.
me. Yeah. So I'm very, even my space, I love moving things around in my home. When you come into my home, my mom was around and she was there. She was like, yo, the different
direction.
Like, because I move things around. I do, I'm that kind of a person. I'm very, my space.
Is your
I'm
space.
very mindful about who comes into my space as well. I'm very strict about those things.
And I guess that also helps you with the kind of energies that you bring into your life.
Yeah.
Because some energies, man, they just drain you. When
They will
you're
take away
around
from you. They will eat you away. And sometimes you're not even aware until you've lost and you're like, why am I off balance?
Yeah.
And then, so you have to, when you can, it's not all the time that you'll be able to, because there's a lot going on in the world. We have to work, we have to hustle, we have to do that, we have to parent, but when you can, prioritize yourself.
Yeah. I'm hearing you saying in not so many ways, but centering yourself and knowing that I'm here now and I need to remain in this season without distractions, without any noises, so that I can hear. And I guess also you being a spiritual person or being gifted by the spiritual realm, you need that quiet space. You need that time alone to just hear from them, because they don't like chaos. One thing about our ancestors in the spiritual world.
And people, when I say spiritual, they think, or maybe no, I mean, like, being spiritual, we have been spiritual by nature in our creation.
True.
But being spiritual in a sense, you must be one with yourself.
Yeah.
Be one with your thoughts. Check your thoughts. Check your tongue. I'm very like check your tongue type of a person, because I know my words can build and break you at the same time. So I'm very mindful of the things I try to say to people. I try not to be too angry or too emotional to people, because I know the power of my words.
Yeah.
I'm gifted on the tongue.
Yeah.
Not even in a sense but like in a sense I know words that I can say to you can land in a very unkind way.
Yeah.
So I'm very mindful of that as well. So spirituality can be even the basics, some of the most basic things we do.
True.
Basic things, and that is the art of Africanity. That is the basis of Africa.
Yeah.
You must be very mindful of the next person, not just the next person, but like your surrounding nature. That's why I don't like people who litter. I hate when people litter
because I'm you're infiltrating.
Because I'm like, Udula Garalon, like you live in this on this planet. Why litter?
Yes.
People who don't like. Yeah, I'm just like, be mindful of you are gifted with an earth where you live. Be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So it's just some of the most. So when spirituality is just me, my presence to self. So nothing too deep to it, because which there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't.
Yeah.
And if I ever find myself to that side, it wouldn't be a problem to me, because already I'm a
spiritual person.
Yeah.
You are self-aware.
In that sense.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but okay. I think I don't want to give them too much, like you said. I want to have you back again, and then we unpack the other elements of your journey, because I truly think there's more. And who knows, next time when you come back, there will be that book you would have started, or it will be on the bookshelves.
I keep making those promises.
There. Please,
at this point, I'm becoming a liar.
We truly need it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe what's next for Hope?
What's next? Doing my best, I'm all about doing my best, guys. Like, when there's an opportunity, I give it my 100% and 10.
Yeah.
When there's anything, I always do my best.
Yeah.
I offer the best. If I'm given a project, it doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how big it is. I volunteer when I want. I do what I do my best. I don't, that's just me. That's just my goal. I take it one step at a time. I try not to overwhelm myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could say one word to your younger self and one word to your now self and your future self, what would those words be?
Thank you.
Sums it all. I mean, there isn't anything much to say. And to the people that have helped you to get to where you are, Moses, your parents.
One word
Yeah.
can never be one word.
Okay, let's make it 3.
Do it for other people as well.
Do it for other people as well.
Because I know if it weren't for them and recognizing me in the way they did, I probably wouldn't have recognized myself the way I did. Like, the reason why I'm so confident is because my mom tells me.
Yeah.
She tells me.
Yeah.
My mom? Oh no, my mom tells me. My mom is the type who would take me to a mall and be like, "Yoga wana again, why be na you? Why extra? Why extra?" That's my mom.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess there's something about somebody you are connected to from an umbilical cord point of view, that when they say it to you and to other people, it lands differently, as opposed to somebody from the outside world saying, "Oh, I'm very proud of Hope," and it will land differently. But when your parent says it, there's really something about it.
With my mom also, I know my mom is a truthful person.
Yeah.
My mom means what she says, and she, even not to me, but to the world. She's an intentional. She speaks the truth. My 100%. Mom is that person. So I know she would never smother me with lies, because she wants the best for me.
The best for you, yeah. And I think the truest or the nicest things that you will ever hear is the truth from somebody that truly loves you.
Absolutely.
Because no one who loves you will lead you astray.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly speaking. Well, before we even get to the end of it, how do people find you? Where are you on social media? How do we connect with you? What other work are you doing? Where do we find you?
Guys, watch this podcast. You'll find me here.
Number 1.
Watch the podcast. That's where I am. But otherwise, it's Hope _Mmasutdani. Everywhere else.
Social media.
It's everywhere on social media. Hope _Mmasutdani. If you listen, I have Mmasutdani. How many Mmasutdanis do you know?
Yeah, that's probably the only
or just
one.
search Queen Modjadji.
Yeah,
you'll find links of me there.
Somewhere there. Yeah.
You'll find me. But otherwise, it's Hope Mmasutdani _
100%. There you have it, guys. It's Mmasutdani _ on all social media.
Yeah.
Check out her TikTok. There's so much knowledge and so much laughter that you get by just watching her videos. Please go out there and check her out. Blow her horn. Book her. Very important. Book her for your events.
Absolutely.
Be it you want to teach people at school about history or whatever. Just bring her in, and then let's make it a thing. Let's document our history. As you said, we're not going to overshare, but we're obviously going to share the important things that we need to know. And normally what we do here on our podcast is we leave people with the words of wisdom, words that you live by, that have carried you, that when you think about them, your mood automatically gets lifted. What is your words of wisdom?
Show up and show off. Show up and show off. Like, don't just show up because you have to. I know, like, I'm not trying to be too insensitive of people who work in very heavily demanding jobs, but don't just show up at work because show up and show off.
Yeah.
When you're doing something, show up for yourself and show off.
Yeah.
That's the least you can do.
100%.
Bare minimum for yourself. Yourself is at risk. You're at risk, or if you're a Christian, you're at risk. Or if you're show up and show up for yourself. Like, nobody's gonna do it, so you might as well do it for yourself.
100%. And I think that's exactly what you did today. You showed up and you showed off. Thank you so much for your energy.
Thank you
for pouring so much into this, for continuing the conversation. You didn't let the light die on your hands. You took it a step further. Thank you for the rich history that you've shared with us, and for helping us know that there is so much more about our people that we can learn about.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming along on the journey. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share this content with your friends, and to continue engaging with us in the comment section. Don't miss this conversation because it's dropping very soon. Look out on our social media as we give you updates on when it is dropping. And also follow Faith. Hope.
I get that all the time. Listen, I do. People want to call me Hope, and they're like, Faith.
Listen, we're putting it out there. We have a lot of faith in you. But thank you for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.